kind of just wanted to speak about my experience, my research. I'm very early in my career, but I feel a lot of the work that I do kind of may impact to you as educators. So I feel like one of the things that is really impacting democracy in Ireland today is this sort of idea of a threat of another in mainstream society, or this idea of and fear of engaging with people from different communities. In the psychological research, when we look at this idea of threats, there's usually two causes: a threat of resources and a threat to culture. Like, for example, we're going to lose our culture, we're going to lose our heritage, we're going to lose these things. And these actually come from an idea that they're not engaging with people of the outside communities. And one way that we can actually engage with that and reduce that fear of threat and that fear of the other is actually engaging with global citizenship education. And I do that myself in the University of Limerick. I'm actually co-lecturer in the Introduction to Global Citizenship. And what I do is I work with young people, and namely first and second years, in beginning their journey in global citizenship and working with them through that. Something that I've really noticed is that these young people, again, would have those ideas, even though they're living in a very different Ireland to previously, they have these ideas of the threat of the other and not knowing exactly how to engage with communities that are different from them. And even though we're living in an Ireland that is super multicultural, again, I say again, 1 in 10 people in Ireland are from multicultural background, or ethnically diverse backgrounds, we're living in an Ireland that is purely multicultural, meaning that we are just purely coexisting with each other. And when you're just coexisting with each other, when you don't know the neighbor next door, when you're not actually engaging in healthy, open dialogue with that, what can that bring out? That can bring about prejudice, that can bring about hate, and that can bring about discriminatory behavior, which we're seeing today, and the increase that has been happening over the last couple of years. So in my sort of journey and my research looks at those communities that are othered in society, particularly ethnic minority community, and I look at second-generation migrants in particular. And one thing I found out is that the second-generation migrants in Ireland, they do not feel like they belong, even though they are born and raised in Ireland, living in a country that's all they know, myself included, all we know is Ireland. There's this space where we do not feel like we can identify because there's this fraction between communities. So one thing I question is that we need to move beyond the multicultural reality that we're living in and moving into an intercultural reality. So I'm sure a lot of you are aware of interculturalism and intercultural competence, but it's this idea that we have to get positive engagement and intergroup dialogue between each other. So one of the ways, a lot of psychological jargon I'll say to you, but one of the ways that we can have that is having positive intergroup contact between each other. This is, I believe we spoke about this earlier, but this is positive dialogue, positive exchange, positive experiences with communities that are outside, I like to call them a belief bubble. So it's really important that once we engage in that, we can create healthy connections and we can actually unify across those differences. So one way that I do it, you can have positive intergroup contact between communities. And this is direct contact, so what we're doing now, having events, speaking with each other, engaging and learning from each other, or you can have it indirectly, and this is, again, my own passion, through storytelling, through understanding people's experiences, through media, through art, through culture, and that's how I apply it to Gore Media as well. So in Gore Media, our mission is to unify across social, cultural, and political differences in order to advance belonging for marginalized communities. And what we want to create is that indirect intergroup contact in which people that they may be curious about, let's say, social issues or people of migrant backgrounds, people of different communities, but want to create that initial step in their global citizenship journey. So what we do is we create online content, we create interviews, videos, news articles, and things like that, that have the people of those communities, particularly migrant, because that's my area of research, particularly migrant and ethnic minority communities, to own their narrative and own their stories and broadcast those stories for people that are in the early stage of their global citizenship journey to to learn from and have that indirect intergroup contact. And in explaining that, it actually highlights awareness in which people can, again, make that positive contact with the other, and other in quote unquote marks, and actually see the humanity behind each and every one of us. So a lot of the work that I do, and even teaching global citizenship, we kind of highlight the differences that we have in society and highlight the injustices that we have, which is essential and which is important to go through. But a lot of times, in order to work through those injustices, we need to see the commonalities that we have in our human experiences. And through the storytelling work that we do, we actually highlight, yes, the injustices that are happening to certain communities, highlighting their voices, highlighting their struggles, but seeing the little quirks in their humanity and showing that behind all the issues that we have in society, behind everything, it's just another human trying to live their life and trying to be in the society that we have now. So it's important when we're engaging with these communities, it's important to have a space where I didn't know that was happening. where in order for us to create a truly, I don't even want to say inclusive, but a place where we can encompass all voices, it starts by highlighting marginalized voices so they can own their narratives and truly feel like they belong in society. For me, myself, I didn't really know that I was entering the activism spaces. I just wanted to create a space where voices were heard and where people could actually hear the stories of different people in different and diverse communities, so we can actually bridge together and unify across those differences. So it was just a huge space of learning of how we can actually engage together and create this sort of unified space. A quick quote before I finish, that one person in our events, we always have people from different and diverse communities come to our events, tell their stories, engage with each other. One person described the event as a comfortable discomfort in terms of hearing the different stories of particularly migrant communities, but in creating that space in which he could bridge with that person rather than being hesitant to ask questions and things like that. So in the psychological research as well, it's called safety uncertainty, where individuals are actually safe enough to understand, safe enough to ask questions, but uncertain to move forward. And I think in global citizenship, that's what we actually want to, in terms of consciousness raising, that's what we actually want to engage with, so people are, when they're in the start of their journey, safe enough to ask questions, be curious, be open, but uncomfortable enough to challenge those things that they have in the back of their heads, those prejudices, those stereotypes. And I think in Ireland, we are at the pivotal moment in which we can actually steer that conversation moving forward so we can have a more unified society. So thank you so much.